rising storm. I'm forged in the fire, a new heart reborn. With every breath, with every stride, God, I'm your warrior, with you as my guide. Through the valleys of shadow, through the rising storm, I'm forged in the fire, a new heart reborn.
Hey everybody, I hope all my unicorn warriors are doing great, wonderful, and fabulous, and all of the good things. And now I had a couple of updates, and I'm gonna add this with the video that I'm doing, so this I guess be like the intro or whatever. So but I'm gonna do a side-by-side with Suzie's stories. So first we'll hear the one where she talks about and what she told law enforcement and medical examiner and everybody else, that that Chris's wheel got too close to the edge of the pool and he fell in. So we'll hear that one first, and then the second one we're going to hear the more recent interview that she gave to law enforcement, and where she says that he didn't take his medication the night before, and that he finally got the medications in the morning, which was the same medication that he took at night, so he got double dosed, or that's what it sounded like to me, not saying that's what it is. But so we don't know if he got double dosed or not. It sounded to me like he did, but it's either here nor there. But that he was really tired, fell asleep, and ended up going into the pool, like really fast, going in. So two different stories, and a lot of the things. Oh, and then I'm gonna show y'all this comment that was left under someone's post on Facebook, and it's talking about Suzie, and talking about that. Oh, there were I guess it's like two girls, like Suzie and a friend of hers, and they're talking, and I guess Suzie starts crying on the floor or something. I don't know, it's kind of weird to me, but I guess her friend was asking, what about, JP, or, the guy, I guess, that Suzie was liking or whatever, and she was like, oh, we're just friends, and or something, and then her friend's like, well, aren't you married? And she was like, yeah, and I wish Chris would just die and it just be all over with. Like, how horrible is that? And that and then Chris passed, and then Mica passed, and then now JPdiddy and Suzie Sluzie are married. So how convenient. But so we're gonna go through that in this video. So that's gonna be the topic for this one, is Suzie's different stories and the way her and JP say so much of similar things and just kind of switch it up a little bit. So if you'll think back to the things that JP said about Mica and how Mica was, and all the things that JPdiddy had to say about her, you will notice Suzie saying a lot of the same things about Chris. So, and about, like Chris longed to see Jesus, and, Chris, like, pretty much hyping up the fact that Chris just couldn't wait to pass away and go to heaven. Yeah, it's just all weird. But we'll, if you just compare, like, what JP says and then what Suzie says, and it's just like wash and repeat the same thing over and over again, but with different details to the story. Like, Chris getting too close and then falling in, or that the HOA wouldn't make the pool area handicap safe, or that, you know, he fell asleep and, you know, jolted into the pool. Or she didn't say jolt, but, you know, that he fell asleep and went into the pool. So, yeah, and then, you know, and then when you think about the things that his friend said, you know, like how Chris was scared of water, and then, like, if he was, like, say, at the pool, or just, you know, being still, like, just sitting there or whatever, you know, and not moving around, that he would turn his chair off, which makes sense because of battery life and, you know, safety. So I would think that he would have, you know, had it turned off, but according to Suzie, I guess Chris just didn't know what he was doing. I don't know, even though he's been in the chair for so many years. But and then now, as far as updates, now I do have some good news, which I'll save the good news for the end of this to kind of maybe bring it back up, the conversation up some, I guess. But I got Johnny's medical exam, and I got his toxicology. Now, I am not going to go over that medical exam because I don't know, I don't feel that's right, and I don't want that image in anyone's head. And so I'm not going to give the details of that. That's something that the family can keep if they want to share, or if they want me to share, you know, then maybe. But as far as his toxicology report, he had no alcohol in his system, no drugs, which I didn't think drugs anyway in his system. And I don't know, like, for sure, but I mean, I don't think that Johnny was a big drinker, but he didn't have any alcohol or anything in his system anyway. So his tox screening was clear, and the injuries he had was very sad. And so I'm just gonna leave it at that on that. So, and and then the good news is that on the 19th, January, February, March, April, May, June. All right, so June 19th, on a Thursday, your girl will be going live with Regina Ward on TikTok. But don't worry over here, because I'm taking that day off since, you know, we were able to plan this ahead of time. So I am taking that night off, and so we'll be fully prepared this time. It won't be last minute thing. But so June 19th, I will be going on her panel on TikTok and talking with her, going through her questions, and we've gone over the questions that we've had before. I think that same day I did a live when we were supposed to originally do it, and then something happens, like always, just so random. But if y'all want to, we can kind of refresh on that. Maybe I could do another live beforehand, and we can refresh our thoughts and stuff with the questions. And then if there's anything that you know y'all want added or something, I can add it on. So that was the good news. Now, time-wise, I'm not quite sure exactly time-wise. I just know it will be on the 19th, and it'll be late evening, nighttime. But either way, I will bring it to y'all on YouTube side. So no need to worry there. And so, with all of that being said, yeah, just have your notebooks ready. And like I said, we're going to start off with the first version that Suzie gave of the events of what happened with Chris that day. And I'm going to show y'all the screenshot. Now, I will redact this lady's name. Y'all know I don't like showing names and stuff. I know it's probably posted everywhere, but I'm not gonna do that. So so the friend's name I'll redact, but y'all can see exactly what she said and the events that happened at her house with Suzie. So I'll show that. I can add it here while I'm talking. So, and then we'll hear Suzie's updated and newer version of events of things that happened that day with Chris. And also keep in mind too, you know, they had a cookout planned for that day, the same day that Chris passed, and family didn't find out till later on that day. And Suzie told law enforcement and everyone that Chris had no other family, that it was just her, and that Suzie tried to go get a DNR done for Chris in South Carolina and then Virginia, and never got it fully filled out, and you know, all the T's crossed and dots and commas and everything. So there was a lot going on before Chris passing, and then it came to the day of, and also I still haven't gotten any answers of who it was that day that was after the fact that Chris went in, and I think that paramedics had just gotten there, but there was a guy that was up there at the fence taking pictures with his cell phone. I've showed it before, I'll show it again, and his, you know, face and stuff is blurred out, but you can clearly tell that he is taking pictures of the scene. And so I still haven't figured out who that is. We were thinking maybe a detective or something, but it wouldn't be, because he was in like regular clothes. It looked like someone would from around the neighborhood or something, you know, or just some random person. I don't know. It was just, I just found it weird. So, still trying to figure out who that guy was that was taking pictures, and we'll get into it. And I guess that's all I can think about for now. I guess if I think of anything else, I'll add notes in here or do another video. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think of the two different stories that you hear, and neither one of them makes sense, and neither one of them add up. And you know, and I also wonder too, because I did look up the laws South Carolina of driving under the influence in a electric wheelchair. You can't get a DUI for that. So if Suzie, we already know Suzie neglected the man. I wonder if she did double dose him that morning. And I mean, she makes it clear that she's the one that, you know, gives him the medicine. She's the one that does this. She's the one. Nobody else, but she's the one. So, or if there could be some more charges, not just for the neglect and abuse, but for overdosing and him driving under the influence, if she's the responsible party for his medications and such, then I don't know, it makes you wonder. But alright, well, get your notebooks and let me know y'all's thoughts in the comments. And today's your birthday. Happy birthday. Bye.
That day, he, I guess, had gotten, when he was driving it, nobody was there, and when he drove his wheelchair, he got too close to the edge. A neighbor had come to get me, and she just said, you have to get to the pool right away, and I just kind of knew. So when I got there, they were doing CPR, and so I knew where he fell in. I could see the wheelchair in the water. I knew where he fell in, and I knew where they did CPR and everything. He was paralyzed for 21 years before he passed away, and so he suffered a ton. He had wounds, and he had tons of pain all the time, and infections, and lots of medical issues. And so he really longed for heaven. Like, he was excited for heaven more than probably the average healthy person is, because, you know, if we're healthy here, like, life can be pretty good here. And life was really hard. So he was really excited about heaven and getting a new body and all of that. Anyway, so to think about, like, him finally getting to see Jesus face to face, it was like this beautiful picture in my head, and I could picture, like, and then I realized too, like, Jesus is always with us. He was with Chris in that water. Like, Chris was never alone in the water. And so I could just picture, like, Chris going down, like, almost like picture him, like, diving into the pool, and then Jesus just picking him up right in the water, and then just scooping him up and taking him to heaven. And so he really longed for heaven. Like, he was excited for heaven more than probably the average healthy person is, because, you know, if we're healthy here, like, life can be pretty good here, and life was really hard. So he was really excited about heaven and getting a new body and all of that.
In the morning, so he finally gets those medications that he had missed, and he probably fell asleep. He went to the same spot in the pool every single day if there was a person that could let him into the pool area. If not, he went on the outside of the gate, and he would sit there, and he would play on his phone, or he would rest. That's what he did every morning after he walked the dog. That morning, obviously, a neighbor let him into the pool, and so, Yes, I think he fell asleep or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen the video. And that morning when that detective's asking me those questions or whatever, I haven't seen the video. I have no idea. So yes, that's my best guess on that day at that moment that's what happened to my husband. The detective said, you know, what happened? Okay, well, he was tired. He was up all night long. He finally gets the medications, which is the same medications at night as in the morning. So he finally gets those medications that he had missed, and he probably fell asleep. He went to the same spot in the pool every single day if there was a person that could let him into the pool area. If not, he went on the outside of the gate, and he would sit there, and he would play on his phone, or he would rest. That's what he did every morning after he walked the dog. That morning, obviously, a neighbor let him into the pool, and so, Yes, I think he fell asleep or whatever. I don't know. I haven't seen the video. And that morning when that detective's asking me those questions or whatever, I haven't seen the video. I have no idea. So yes, that's my best guess on that day at that moment that's what happened to my husband. I'm the one that lives with him. I'm the one that takes care of him. I'm the one that was there the night before. I'm the one that got him up that morning. I'm the one that gives him the medication. Not these other people. I'm the one that lives with him. Yes, I know he's sad. He's freaking paralyzed for 21 years. Would you not be sad? But does that guarantee 100% that he killed himself? I have no idea. I am not a detective, and I was not in his mind that morning. That is what I told that detective, and that is exactly what I stand by today. Okay. I have no idea.
Yeah, sure.
You decide.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know your thoughts. And if today's your birthday, happy birthday!